Welcome to Totally Talks Tuesdays and maybe Thursdays, because we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I love to talk, and today is commentary on the movie Sinners. I've watched it twice. I made sure to go back to watch it yesterday to make sure everything I thought was actually what was happening. If you haven't watched it, I don't suggest you listen to this video because there's going to be spoilers. I'm going to talk about everything that I can remember. If you don't plan on watching it and you can get a good synopsis of what this movie is about. I watched it for the first time and I was in shock because I'm Black, Yoruba specifically. I'm also an Irish national, and I'm a Christian. When I was watching, I was like, oh my goodness, recognize this. Like, there was so many things. Overall, when I rate the movie, I'll give it a solid 7, 8 out of 10. Like, I feel like it's good. I watched it again, but I feel like for me, it's more the symbolism, it's more the meaning behind that caught me. That's why I went back to go watch it again. So I'm going to be doing my makeup while I'm talking. So let me start my prep. But first of all, let's start at the beginning. The movie starts off with a saying. It talks about a gift in music, how there are certain people that the music power they basically have transcends the human plane. It opens up a gate to the spiritual part of the earth, because of course there's multiple realms in this world. There's not just this realm we're in. We're in the physical, there's also the spiritual. But the gift is so powerful that not only does it open up that realm and allows whoever has the gift to see their ancestors, spirits, all of that, it can also attract bad spirits, bad energy, I guess demons. The Irish calls it the Philly, the Choctaw. That's the indigenous people that we see, calls it the fire keepers. West Africans call it griot. I'm so sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Ejo, Dari Jimmy. Then we get introduced to Sammy Moore. He is a sharecropper and he's the son of a pastor, which is why you see in the movie they call him Preacher Boy. Let me put this on. That's why they call him like Preacher Boy, right? In the first scene, we see he comes in from his car, his engine, as I like to call it in the movie, and he comes into his dad's church. And he has a guitar that's broken up. He's scarred up because he's just experienced something. His dad comes to brace him, but also tell him, let go of this music, specifically the blues, and submit your life to God. We see Sammy, he's in this space where he hasn't decided yet whether he wants to leave music even after everything he's just gone. From that scene, it then cuts down to one day earlier, which is where we see the whole day play out. First, when I saw that scene when he's come back to his dad, to me it gave prodigal son. I can't remember the tale specifically, but it's basically like a child that goes away from the parent. Your parent is warning you, don't go do this, don't go do that. You go and do that, you realize it's not good, you're in trouble, and then you come back to your parent. But I guess that's the benefit, of having parents, because usually you can go out of the nest, but a lot of times you go out with the back of the mind thinking you got the safety to come back to your parents. From that scene, it cuts to the twins, where we see Michael B. Jordan, spectacular actor. Stack, this is how you can, if you watch it, this is how you know who's who. Stack always has red on him, a red cap, while Smoke has a blue cap. Immediately, we got symbolism there. Because the reason why I'll say there's imagery there is because we look at red and blue. Over time, we see red as something that's more to do with passion. It's quite irrational. And whereas blue tends to be seen as quite calm, rational. And this even shows with the twins because Stack is the younger twin while Smoke is the older twin. You see as I go through the movie as well, there's certain decisions that Smoke makes that you can tell it's just more rational, it's more thought. But also, red also tends to be associated with evil. Even with Satan, for example, as we go through the centuries, you even see how red and blue, even with superhero movies, the hero tends to wear blue and the villains tend to wear red. In this movie, it's not as simple as that, but it's also interesting to me because obviously there's aspects of spirituality. They're twins. Red and blue is almost like it completes each other. It's two parts of one soul. And we see even with how the story goes, how the paths that they choose, almost like without each other, they're not complete. So while they're in the track, they've just come back from the south and they want to open a jukebox business. So they've now gone to go buy it from the clan member. This is very important because when they see the clan member, the guy gets a little bit like, he gives dodgy vibes. Like, you know, them type of business stuff where it's a bit dodgy. They go meet this guy to come and get the land from. I feel like they did it on purpose to have them buy this building from the clan member, because it kind of shows how the building they're getting, it's already tainted. And in there, I remember with the twins, they were saying this building, they were reconfirming that it comes with the land as well. Them ensuring that before they give the money over to this clan member, that I think is even the leader of the clan, that there's absolutely no way for this guy to come try get money or anything back from them. Like, okay, we've got this building and we've got this land. After this business deal, we have no more business with each other. That's it. We go our separate ways. We cut to the scene of Sammy with his dad. Now, in this time, this is another thing that's important. Sammy loves to play blues, the blues music. I feel like this is such important because during this time, we still have people that are basically in slavery. You have free slaves, but there's still people that are still enslaved. And the blues music was like, it came out of this time. It was a way of people to speak about the things that they went through under, you know, the enslavement during that time. However, not everyone agreed with the blues, so some people saw it literally as the devil's music. And when his dad was warning him, the dad kept saying, this music that you're playing is going to bring the devil at your door. Again, this is very important. You know how now, for example, in music and genres now that's also seen as devil's music. Like if you look at it, it's like, oh, you sold your soul, yada, yada, yada. Like, is it Robert Johnson? He warns him, he begs him to not keep on going with this music. He wants Sammy to leave the congregation the next day, and he tells him 1 Corinthians 10:13. Maybe let me read the passage out to you guys. So it says, no temptation has seized you except what is common to man, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can stand up under it. These words are very important because it kind of just comes to show what the movie is about. Sammy's temptation is essentially playing blues, playing music his own way, whereas his dad wants him to use it for the church, but he wants to play in his own way. Then you get the twins that are coming and kind of like was offering basically freedom. They've come to him and they're going to take him to basically help open their jukebox. They've got to go and speak to like some old friends to like help them open up, set up like the food and everything assigns. Everyone they went to, like Lisa, Delta Slim, I'm not sure if Cornbread does it as well, Bo, they're wondering what they're doing back in the South because they went to the North, Chicago, to basically get away from everything they're going through in the South. But in the beginning, they say that basically up North is no different than what's going on in the South with the white people, with the enslavements, everything. The only thing is just that it's dressed up. They've now come back to the South to, in quotations, deal with the devil that they know. They've come back to deal with what they can understand because up there's a whole nother playing field. Throughout the whole movie, there's themes of almost like entrapment. Like no matter where they go, I don't want to say there's no salvation, but like this end that they had for them is almost like inevitable. Yeah. So they've gone to their people. They went to Bow and Grace. That's where they got their signs and things to set up for the jukebox for that night. They've also gone to Delta, convinced him to also help play for that night as well. And they've, tempted them with Irish beer, Italian wine, all this stuff that's not coming in the South, but they've have access to. Then we're introduced to Smoke's love interest. So this is now where we see Annie. This part to me was like, wow, when I first saw it, because when we're introduced to Annie, so the first time, I'm not going to lie, guys, I don't want to get like cancer for saying this and everything. When I first saw Annie, I didn't think it was a love interest because I think there's certain parts of the movie where they're saying some stuff and I can't honestly hear them properly what they're saying. Yeah, I thought Annie at first could have been like an auntie to Michael. I didn't see like the love interest, but when I watched it again properly, I saw it. I saw that, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is a love interest. Because before he sees her, he goes to a grave first to basically pay his respects to their lost child. One thing I found interesting about both of them is like, we introduced Annie as a character and we see that Annie, she's basically like a spiritualist, like in hoodoo. I wouldn't say like, I don't know if she's a leader in it, but she practices hoodoo and stuff. And this is when we're first introduced to another type of, I don't know if I call it a religion, another type of way of worship. When we see the character Remmik come in, he talks about how Christianity was brought to him, the Irish folk, the same way it was brought to us, to the black people, to be fair. And he uses that as a way to connect to black people, to the people that end up being in the jukebox, to try and, I guess, get them to kind of be like, oh, you know, we're family, we're here for each other. And when it comes to spirituality, I feel like it's a controversial topic because, like I said, I'm Yoruba. In Yoruba, twins are very important. It's a blessing to have twins. I'm seeing her pray to the charm. I'm seeing her pray and she says Ashe. Yeah. So what Ashe is, it's an energy flow within humans, animals, plants. And when it's said, it's like it's manifesting power into something. So your intention behind it matters. So when Smoke basically comes back to Annie to go see her because he basically needs her for the jukebox, they talk about, you know, like, oh, what are you doing here? You know, because bear in mind, both of these men with another love interest have basically left their women to go chase life in Chicago, realize life there isn't good, and come back. And basically, like nothing's happened. You know, just how guys be doing, I guess. So she checks to see if he still has the charm that she put on him, which is a mojo charm. I know what I found so interesting about this. You know, people like, oh, you got your mojo back. Like, you got your groove back. Mojo is almost like a lock. It's like a charm. It's like a protective thing. She basically gave this to him to protect him. And again, we're being introduced to aspects of spirituality. And she prays on it and says, Ashe, which I said earlier is about energy. And because she's praying almost like protection for him, that's her intention behind it. So that's what she's giving to her man. The movie, it kind of shows how, I guess, hoodoo is putting it more in like a positive light, how it can be used for good. Like in the movie, hoodoo is basically used for good, to protect. And if it wasn't for, we later on see with Annie, with hoodoo, and noticing certain things about, I guess, her knowledge, I don't even think they would have been able to survive. They wouldn't have been able to survive the attack that happens later on in the movie. So, again, in the movie, hoodoo is put in a positive aspect, which obviously is interesting because, of course, like I said, I'm a Christian, and I'm not going to lie, from a perspective, anything that is not directly of God automatically is from, you know. But what I found interesting about this, because when I was doing like my research and stuff, is that in spirituality, guys, again, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the linking videos is things are basically seen as there's a supreme being. The supreme being is actually separated. So the supreme being then has creator gods under it. And these creator gods are actually what create the earth, the plants, the animals. And I guess they're closer with humans in terms of like they can communicate with humans and stuff. This is why, like, in spirituality, guys, I'm so sorry if I get this wrong. Please correct me. Like, I researched, I'm just doing this based off my understanding. But what I understand, spirituality is like when, for example, Annie's praying, or when they pray to like their ancestors, it's almost like they're contacting the creator gods through their ancestors. They're not praying to the ancestors, they're praying through and offering, I guess, thanks and asking for protection or asking for certain things, like to help them, you know? I found this so interesting because this thought of like a supreme being separate and doesn't contact humans and stuff, then having creator gods. In Christianity, we have the supreme and the creator gods as basically one, which is God, Jehovah. So for us in Christianity, God isn't a complete separate, like as if we can't contact him. But I felt like there was crosslinks in terms of spirituality. They're praying through the ancestors to these gods. But in Christianity, we pray through Jesus. We pray to Jesus, to God. And some, I think Catholics as well, they also, pray to Mary? I found that interesting how there's cross links with religion and spirituality as well. But it's a slippery slope because again, from a Christian, all of this would just be seen as, but at the same time, I am black. And this is how my people would have worshipped and connected to God before the white man Christianity. And that's the first touch, do you get, with spirituality and everything. And I guess it's good to see him used in a positive way. To be fair, I don't know how good that is. I don't know if that's really people astray. But guys, this scene here when we see Annie and Smoke, let me just talk about this scene. I don't know if I got this feeling, but let me break it down this way. They're together. They have a child together that unfortunately passed away. They're speaking about how Smoke even mentions, oh, how come this charm that you used didn't work on the child? Calm. She's even like, why are you here? Why do you think you can just come back? Calm. In the scene, I don't know if anybody else thought this so. I don't even know if you thought this so. Personally, how are we going to speak about the passing of our child and then we're looking at each other intensely? Next to you, grabbing of the testicles is happening and kissing. And then, like, me personally, I don't understand the emotional jump from we're speaking about our child that has passed away. You have run away, didn't tell me anything. We're lovers. You can't even tell me. You just go. You disappear. Then you come back and you're already getting the music. You're already getting some. There's certain scenes. Only sex scene that makes sense is the one that happens between Sammy and Perlene, which I'll talk about later. This one, I was like, come on, man. But just like, it's like you're getting rewarded for bad behavior. But I get it. There's passion, there's love, oh, long lost lover, whatever. Anywho, after the scene, I guess the D was so good because she's on board. She decides to come and help them with the jukebox. And apparently she makes the best catfish as well. So she's also catering. She's basically catering for the jukebox. Then we get to Stack and he is convincing Delta Slim. Delta Slim is basically a drunk, but honestly, there's a reason why he's a drunk. One thing I love about this series is all the characters are really developed. This guy's a drunk. You got convinced to basically do a job for basically Irish beer, for alcohol, but because he's never tasted his alcohol, and a higher bonus. I think he's getting $40 or something like that. Calm. But when I watched again, I realized this guy was a slave. The only reason why he ended up being free is because when they took him, they realized he could play music, him and his friend. And he played so well that it was like, you know what, we're not going back to the plantation to work. We're going to take you on tour. And I believe, guys, again, I'm pretty sure this is off my memory. And unfortunately, he's now on tour playing music, but his friend decides to try go make a church, and he ends up being killed by the white people because to see a Negro, I guess, I can say that word right, to see a black man having that much money, because they got money as well from the music and stuff they're playing, it was not normal. So they accused him apparently of trying to rape a white man's wife's thing and lynched him. And when you experience stuff like that, of course it makes sense you're just going to drink away your life and stuff. Because one thing I realized about Delta Slim is, yes, music freed him, which is why he kept using music and he kept his booze and everything. But I think he understood that even as a free man, he was never free. That's one thing I see that's constant in this whole movie. They're never free. They convinced Delta Slim to come and work for them. Delta Slim and Sammy play music and crowd gatherers and stuff. This is where we see Perlene is introduced. Beautiful woman, married. In fact, both Sammy and Black's woman. Temptation. Can you see how the people tempted? Temptation is such. Remember 1 Corinthians 10:13. There's a lot of temptation in this movie, yo, because these two women are married. Mary as well comes into the scene. She's married too. These married women, they're messing around with single men. And the single men, you start messing around, it's forbidden fruit. You're not supposed to be talking and dealing with stuff with each other, but here we are. These Perlene, they talk, they have their flirty stuff. And she gets invited to the jukebox. Of course she's going to come because she's seen this guy, musicians, people. The chemistry is undeniable. I can't be like, them two, the chemistry is undeniable, whatever. What I see interesting is Mary. Again, another character that Apollo, sorry, if you guys understand, her brain is not making sense to me. Because Mary comes in and we see Mary, she's introduced. I'm seeing a white woman. Later on, we find out her granddad is black. So she's 1/8 black. In that time, they'll call them octoroon. This is also very interesting, guys. Let me tell you why this movie is good. The fact that Mary is an octoroon The fact that in that time we have people that basically call white passing. If you're white passing, that means even though you're mixed with black, you can basically, you're light enough and have certain features that you can completely go into the white society, civilization, and live a normal life that a black person wouldn't have the privilege to at that time. She comes in and she's basically angry at Stack because Stack left without telling her anything, but Stack left for her own good because sis Stack is like, in this life that we live in that life that they live in, they would have never been able to have a happy life because he's a black man. Like, you're white passing. You basically saw as you're white passing, go and live the life that you can have for yourself in that time. Go live a better life. She, on the other hand, was angry that Stack basically chose that for him without her getting the choice to basically choose whether she wanted a better life for herself. That's how now we're all introduced to the characters. So let me do a summary. In the beginning, we get Sammy's dad warning Sammy, your music is going to bring the devil to you. We see that in the beginning as well, music is in a position of power. Music is freeing. Music, you have gifts, and that music can basically have them touch the spiritual planes as well. We get introduced to the twins and the concepts of red and blue. Smoke is blue, rational, calm. Stack is red, irrational, fire, follows his heart. We see the love interests. We get introduced to Annie. She's a hoodoo spiritualities. This is Smoke's lover. This is a protected smoke as well, they even realize. Then we also get introduced to Praline. She's a singer, a married woman, marriage, and this is Sammy's love interest. Then we're also introduced to Mary, an octoroon. She's a white passing woman. So if I'm saying white passing, but really, I'm not gonna lie, if you want it black, I'm going to see as white. But she's a white woman, and this is Stack's love. They have important characters, Bo and Grace. These are basically Stack and Smoke's friends. Oh my goodness, sorry, I forgot. We also have Cornbread. Cornbread is basically, he's a sharecropper, and Stack and Smoke end up taking him in to basically work as a security guard for the jukebox. Basically, the jukebox is like a club. Let me put it, the jukebox is like what we call a club nowadays. Have I set the scene with all the characters? Money, whatever, back in the day. Again, economy, money and power too is very important in this. And he's going to be the bodyguard. Then we have Bo and Grace. Bo and Grace, they basically work the shops in that area. And one thing that's interesting as well that I saw is that Grace was in the shop that was serving the white people, whilst Bo was in the shop that was serving the black people. And they're recruited as well just to help their friends with Stack and Smoke. Grace does the signs and just to help like supplies, the jukebox, because if free drinks, everything, they're trying to have like lit party. That's what we're trying to have. All they wanted to do, all Stack and Smoke wanted to do is have a lit party in their South, in Mississippi, with their people, make money, and just businessmen, literally. And obviously, just provide a safe space so they can do their business. So we're going to leave that on pause. That's how the story is introduced to us. These lot are now going to go set up for the club. Before they go set up for the club, one thing that comes next on screen is we get introduced to Remmik. Remmik is a vampire, but this is why I feel like the way he was introduced to me is very interesting. Usually when someone is being chased, Remmik is being chased by the Choctaw. The Choctaw, they know about vampires basically, and they're trying to get him because before he causes more havoc. Remmik doesn't just run, he falls into the scene. I don't think, when I watched it again, I realized he's not running normally when someone is running and you get him. He's falls in. He fell in. And he's like, his body is scarred because the sun's out and vampires, they can't come out in the sun. And that to me is so interesting because him falling in reminded me of a fallen angel. Let's go back to the beginning. Music. Remmik the vampire, which is basically the main villain of this movie, is fallen in. Who fell from heaven? Lucifer, brother Jesus. Who was in charge of music in heaven? Lucifer. Again, blood of Jesus. So even though he's a vampire, to me, he also just represents just how Satan would be. Let's be smart. When Satan's coming to you, he's not going to come in as a big bad guy. He's going to come in with temptation. He's going to come in acting like he's your friend, but he ulterior motive in store. So he comes banging on the people's door. The two characters, I'm so sorry, I forgot their name. We're introduced to two characters, they're a couple. When you see them in the movie, before it pans to the couple, there's the clan, Ku Klux Klan. The heart is in the background. That's important. Because, again, remember what I said, These lot had no saving. When you deep the movie, these lot were never going to be saved. There was always going to be an end. So, one thing I've seen now is he's basically begging them and he convinces them, again, no, because Satan is cunning and Remmik is cunning. He convinces them, he was like, oh, these people have attacked me. They even attacked my woman. I know, I'm so sorry that I look like a wimp because I'm here, man, and I haven't protected my woman. Please help me. Don't let them take me too. They take him in. She hides him. The Choctaw, they come in. The Choctaw are basically indigenous people. In America, had indigenous people from the whites and the everyone there. Those are the originals that were there in the American side. Again, they know of vampires. They know what they can do. They come in, they're not going to do, hello, have you seen anybody? Because bear in mind, where they've come to is only that house, it's empty, there's nothing for miles. They're asking, like, have you seen anyone? The girl is saying, no, I haven't. And then the guy is saying, are you sure? If you've seen something, I'm letting you know, whatever you've seen, he's lying, he's a deceiver. He's not who you think he is. She's saying, no. And then the Choctaw people, he's warned by the other people saying, they gotta go. Because the sun is coming down, and of course, vampires, they have their strength in the night, not in the sun. So these lot, they have to leave because it's getting dark, and he just prays over her. He says it like in their language, basically, may God save you, something like that. Prays over her, he goes. And the girl is an idiot. As soon as he goes, she's calling for her man. Her man is not picking up because they've let Remmik to enter. She goes to the back to go check. Remmik has turned her husband to a vampire, and he's like, oh, don't worry, he's fine. We're going to save you too. Before she screams, the husband is smiling with blood. They've turned. Now, it's now in the nighttime. Bear in mind, as I said earlier, this all happened in one day. So he's been turned, and they're now going to go about their way. Now, this is where we now cut back to the jukebox. Everything is going well with the jukebox. Everything is going well. People are partying. People are dancing. The music is good. But there's an issue. Zach is more emotional, Smoke is more rational. There becomes an issue with the money. And this is what we've seen about the time that things are placed. Because people want to get drinks and stuff. But again, in this time, people are still enslaved. So not everyone actually has dollars. There's something called basically like plantation money. So there's a customer there that wants to pay money for a drink. And he doesn't have enough dollars, so he pays the rest with plantation money, which I guess can still work there. But of course, Smoke has an issue with this because he's like, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't do anything with this. Guys, I have to be quick with this. I don't know if I'm talking too much, but actually the camera went off, so I went to go quickly do my lashes, do my eyebrows, redraw my edges and everything. So I'm going to keep doing my makeup and talk through. But basically what I got to was the currency. So obviously in this time, not everyone has dollars because there's still people being enslaved. So some people, they had basically plantation money, coins, and this is going to be an issue. And this basically starts the demise of the group because Smoke and Stack are speaking and they start calculating and realize that basically there's two monies. So there's more money from the plantation money than there is from the dollars. But for them, they don't care about the plantation money. They only care about the dollars because that's what they're going to be able to run the business, right? And without enough money, they're not going to be able to run the business. They literally have 2 months tops. And one thing that's interesting is basically he speaks about this to Mary. So this is the issue now. There's people coming as enjoying, but they don't feel like the money that they're earning from it is not going to be enough to last the business. That's paused. So Sammy, the gifted, he starts singing and he performs. When he performs, this is the most beautiful scene ever. If I can try to put it in there, I'll put it. He performs, I believe it's I Lie to You. Yeah, I Lie to You. And this music, like I said in the beginning, they talk about there's certain people that have a gift. Sammy has that gift. When he starts singing, we see an evolution of when the music from this time to how it goes to rock, to how it goes to hip hop. We even see a bit of traditional music. There's masquerades. I don't know what masquerades do, but there's masquerade there. There's a ballet, rock music. There's a bit of, I think, some sort of like traditional Chinese dancing as well there. And this is where the issue starts. This music that can transcend the spirit and transcend time. Remmik, that music basically brings Remmik. Remember Remmik, the vampire, the one that came in like a fallen angel. That music basically gives him a glimpse of his past. The music allows him to basically see his past, see his family that he hasn't been able to see in a long time. Let me tell you something about this. Remmik is Irish, right? The Irish like the black folk or the Africans and the African Americans, they were colonized. They had their own traditions, they had their own things, and they had Christianity brought to them. When Remmik sees and hears this music, he sees it as an opportunity to basically connect with the black folk. He sees a connection. He comes to the door. He knocks on the door and he's asked to be let in. And because he wants Sammy, he hasn't told these lot yet, but he wants Sammy. He sees that gift and he wants that gift for himself. See what I mean by like, you have gifts, you have to be careful. Because if you don't use your gift for the right thing, or other people want your gifts, they want to take advantage, they want to steal it. He needs that gift because that's the only way he can basically see his long lost family with Sammy's gift. So he asks to be let in. He comes in, they start singing their folk tour, trying to like convince these lot to let him in. By this time, they're swinging to Cornbread, which is a security guard. They basically say no. But they say no because in that time, and they made a good point, if anything happens to them because they're all white, and let's say someone mistakenly steps on their foot or something like that, they're in trouble because mistakenly steps on their foot or something like that. Because they're in an environment where it's still basically being ruled by the white people. Things aren't as equal as they're trying to make it seem. So if anything happens, that could eventually spoil the jukebox, spoil the... So they say, no, we don't want you. But the reason why this is important now is that they go, but they say, oh, we're not going to go far, just in case you change your mind. So this is now where we're at the point in the story. We're at the point in the story where the money they're making from the people is not enough. This is a black-owned business, right? But most of the people there are not necessarily free slaves. So they only have this plantation money and dollars, but there's more money from plantation. It's not enough to run the business. Remmik comes in offering fellowship. He comes in offering fellowship, but he's got an ulterior plan. He wants Sammy's gifts. And he wants to just play music. He's offering, oh, we can be a family, yada, yada, yada. That's where we at. Stack ends up telling Mary what's going on. Now, this is why Mary's character is important. Mary is an octoroon, and she's white passing. Mary feels like, since Mary's also married as well to a white man, Mary feels like because she's basically white passing, because they even question at the door saying, oh, but how did she get in? They were like, how did she get in? Because they're saying I can't get in because of the color of my skin. But she's there, and she looks like me. So she ends up being the bridge to basically go to him. She's like, you know what, I'm going to see what these guys are about because we need money. I want to put money on the till. We need money. So she goes to them to speak to them. That's the first mess up. Because when she's going to speak to them, she doesn't realize that's how they're going to use her to get in and take over. She goes to speak to them, and she's already clocking there's a vibe. When she speaks to them, he shows the money that she has. He shows the money that he has. Gold. This is gold. This is not dollars. This is not plantation gold. This is gold that you can... Who knows what it's worth? And he knows the business needs it. So she takes the gold, keeps it. But this guy's acting weird. Again, the vampires, they can't even handle the thirst. My guy, Remmik, after doing the little sing, he's drooling. My guy is drooling. So from the drool, she clocks that something's wrong. So she moves back and she's like, get away from me. You lot are weird. Get away from me. So she's going back to the jukebox to go warn these who shouldn't let them in. As she turns around, you just see Remmik floating. And then they've caught her. And you know what is mad? With vampires, they're not allowed to be let in. So from that, you see, when she goes back to the jukebox, she goes to Cornbread. Oh, and you gonna let me in? You know how they do it in their southern accent. Are you gonna let me in, Cornbread? Guys, I don't know if I did the accent right, but like, you gonna let me in? It's like, yeah, of course. No one's clocking that at this point. Why is someone that's able to go in and out constantly? Why is she being asked to be let in? And this is also the importance of Mary's character. Before we continue, let me comment on this stupid girl. When Mary finds out that Stack's come back and everything, she mentions that Stack left her. They didn't tell her. Basically chose for her, saying, you need a better life. You're going to live a better life with the white man. Leave me alone. She says their mom that also helped them, raise them as well, passed away. And he's like, he doesn't care if your mom, basically. Yes, she still comes to the party, to the club to come and see this guy. Can you see why the 2 and 2 is not making sense? Someone's told you, F your mom. I don't care that she helped raise us. Obviously, he's saying it because out of love to protect her. But maybe she senses that. But me personally, if you tell me F my mom that I helped raise you and I've just buried her, I'm not coming to your jukebox to come and see you. What have I got to see with you? Like, there'll be other days. But she comes back. and now she's helping, and she obviously sees herself in a position of power because, again, she's white passing, she's white basically. She has the privilege to be able to be in black spaces and white spaces and still benefit from both. Calm. She comes in. You know, the next target is Stack. She comes in, she's all feral. No one's even clocking. Someone is angry at you, whatever, comes and suddenly wants to sleep with you. Again, I don't understand these sex scenes. She comes in, basically entices Stack, takes him to the room, and does her thing. And one thing I realized with all these scenes is for the vampires to train them, I believe not before they bite them, they also need to put some sort of saliva, because the two people that got turned, I saw there was exchange of saliva. I don't know. She turns him, and Stack basically gets turned into a vampire. Smoke is looking for Stack because a situation erupts there, and basically, to make it short, Smoke instantly tries to kill Mary. Mary falls for a bit, literally wakes up instantly, and then comes out. And that's when Annie sees it, and she clocks, she's like, wait, what's going on? She now thinks they're Haints. She thinks that Haints are basically like evil creatures where they basically have your soul. They basically replace your soul in the body. So it might look like you and stuff, but they've replaced it. At this point, she thinks they're Haints. Smoke is literally freaking out because Stack's basically dead. You know, Stack's dead. And now at this point, they've had to call off the whole party. Everyone's being sent home. At this point as well, Cornbread, the bodyguard, he's got to go piss outside, and he's asked Delta Slim to watch the door. When this happens, so they haven't figured out what's going on yet. All they know is that Stack's dead. This is Smoke's twin. Anyway, there's a twin, you know what twins are. I feel like their connection is always just different to just normal people and stuff. So, yeah, got it. Okay. I also believe as well, have you guys, like, one thing I recognize with the movie as well, they were smart by the people that were taken. There's a play of weakness and temptation and strength. The first person to get taken got the Ku Klux Klan, whatever. But she basically, first of all, they were deceived. But then the next person they got was, again, Mary. Why? Because Mary could get Stack. Automatically, he wants Sammy, right? Stack could basically get Sammy for him. Or at least get the brother Smoke. I think remember when we said Stack read all the time, irrational, more passionate. He went for the passion. The characters that fell for this and fell and ended up being turned into this vampire, I feel like it made sense because I don't think we'll see later on, because of the charm that Annie put on Smoke and how Smoke is very calm and rational. In the scene, even though Smoke gets a bit lost because it's like, oh my goodness, his brother, what happens? Because later on, Stack ends up being revived because he's being turned into a vampire. And Smoke is like, oh my goodness, this is my brother. And then Annie said, that's not your brother. He later ends up, you know what, you're right, it's not my brother, and calms down. If they had tried to get Smoke first, I don't think it would have been as easy to take over everyone because he's just very level-headed. So they've gotten these law, and we see the scene, Cornbread comes in. Again, so Stack basically is turned, there's a whole scene that happens, then they realize they're vampires, not Haints, which Annie basically says is worse because vampires, the soul is basically trapped. You're trapped in there. So it's not like a Haint where it switches, the soul is basically trapped. Again, like I said, if it wasn't for Annie, none of these would be saved because what happens then next is this. Annie basically gets everyone prepped. So you guys need to eat garlic to know, because vampires can't eat garlic, right? So any of you guys, that's how they will know, first of all, if anybody else has been tainted. And on top of that, the only thing that can kill them is the wooden stake to the heart. And then she has them prep silver as well, because that's going to slow them down. So now we're getting to the scene where they're prepping for battle. And this scene, oh my goodness. Cornbread also tries to, so while they're prepping for battle, Cornbread comes in. So he tries to come in. Can you guys show me some southern hospitality? I need to be let in. Yada, yada, yada. They're like, no, show us. Then he said, you know what? Let me get my money. And in that scene where Smoke makes a connection, he basically tries to attack Smoke. And that's when it clocks, oh shit, like, not my language, Cornbread's been turned as well. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to set the scene for what's going on so that I can talk about what else. So basically, that's what's happened. This scene now, again, I feel like matters. So now, basically, everyone's prepped to attack the vampires and basically set themselves free. By this time as well, when everyone has left, Grace has sent her husband Bo. Grace and Bo, remember, they're friends with Stack and Smoke, and they're the people helping. They did the sign and stuff, and they have a child, Lisa. They sent Bo's gone out to basically go and pack the truck so they can go. Bo as well is a critical character because he's also someone temptation. He's also used to basically get to Grace, which causes their ultimate demise. Literally the start of the end. What we see happen is, again, Remmik, you see Remmik comes in. You guys need to remember, the devil likes to deceive. Remmik is coming in. Remmik is Irish. He too has been colonized. He understands what it is to have your people taken away, to be forced into something that you never wanted to have. To just be forced, have your culture just shoved onto you and everything. He's coming in. He's doing the Irish dancing. Bear in mind, I used to do Irish dancing all the time in school. So when I saw, I was like, it reminded me of in school days and everything. He's coming in, doing the Irish dancing. Everyone, he has all the people. Bear in mind, all the people that they told to leave, he's turned all of them. So they're outnumbered. He's coming in, singing, promising fellowship. 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 He's coming in. Literally, he said, I'm not racist. I just want you guys. I want us to be together. Let's fellowship. That's the promise he's basically selling. In this time where Black people basically are never free, it's important. He's selling a dream. And it really is a dream because really, they're basically going from one trap to the other. You're either going to be trapped in the real world where white people, they've got an advantage over you, or you're trapped in the spirit realm. Basically, you have to drink blood. You have to do these things to survive. You basically become murderers. Can't even come out in the sun. So this is important. I remember, this is my opinion on it. Some people were saying that, oh, they got to Grace, because Grace was working in the white store earlier and Bo was in the black store. It's because Grace thought she was closer to whiteness. That's why she felt like, oh, she was above others. This is what people are saying. And I'm thinking, can we just think critically for a second? Grace is a mom. She has a child. They've taken her son. These lot come. Remmik literally threatens her saying, we know where Lisa is. We're going to go take Lisa. They're not actually going to because really they want Sammy. They're just threatening her to get into her head. They've planted the seeds. So when he comes in and he's singing, they start singing a lot of song and it's like a chant. Remember, music is very powerful. Music here is a blessing, it's a weapon, it's a curse. The music that they start to sing basically possesses Grace. You see Grace get into a scene where she's basically covering her ears, doesn't want to hear, because they're putting images of Lisa. So now she feels like she needs to fight them now. She basically loses her marbles, loses her sense that she endangers everyone else because the music they're singing is getting to her. You just see Grace lose it. She's losing it. Stack and another guy trying to hold her. They're even covering her mouth because they know she's about to say some mad thing, some next thing. And like, she bites Smoke's hand. So I said Stack, sorry, Smoke. She bites Smoke's hand. Then shouts, come on in. Just shout, one weary, one stupid girl. She shouts, come on in. I hear it, she's being possessed, whatever. But Remmik hears it, it's like, hey, oh, I'm about to come in. They just come in. Now they have to get ready because Grace has basically started the war. They're getting ready now. She throws the fire. Remmik just tosses nothing. And they start fighting. And then Baspos. And it's so unfortunate because Annie gets attacked. Annie's already forced Smoke to promise him, if I get attacked, I don't want to be turned into a vampire. I want to be free. I want to meet my baby because he got a baby. So when she gets turned, there's a scene. He has to kill her. And you see in that scene, so even though Mary and Stack are vampires, they're sad because they're like, what are you doing? They basically have gone on to Remmik's ideology of, we need to fellowship together. We need to be together. So they purposely, again, chose Annie because they felt like if Annie's been turned, then maybe Smoke will give up and want to be turned. Can you see how constantly they're trying to get into each other's weaknesses? Gracie's weakness was Lisa. Then Smoke's weakness would have been Annie, but he managed to persevere. It's like, no. He stabbed the stake in her heart, killed her, and these lot are like, oh my goodness, while that's happening, Remmik's still going for what he wants. Sammy, he still has the goal in mind, which is what he wants to get his music. He tries to get to Sammy and cut to this scene where, oh my goodness, this is so mad to me. When we get to the end scene, he's basically mimicking a baptism. He's dunking Sammy multiple times into the water. This is when we're getting to the end scene. And Sammy starts to say our Lord's Prayer, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Then you see Remmik comes in and says the prayer too. And then the other vampires now coming out and they're saying the prayers too. And he's saying, oh, he basically says to them, oh, the prayer you're saying, I know it too. It's the same thing they brought to me to say. Trying to show him, look, it's not going to work. And that was just, oh my goodness. Sammy ends up buying time because his guitar, there's a silver part. He uses to hit Sammy's head. By this time, what's the word? The sun is starting to come up just a little bit, but not proper. While this is happening, Stack and Smoke are literally fighting. But one thing we see is Stack isn't able to turn Smoke into a vampire because, again, of that mojo charm that Annie gave to Smoke. So he physically can't turn him. He's trying to bite him, but there's something resisting because of the charm. Because of that, Smoke manages to get free and rushes to save Sammy by stabbing a stake into the back of him. The sun starts to come up by now, and we see Remmik basically die, and he's engulfed in flames, which I believe was also done on purpose, because when rapture happens and everything, the ultimate defeat and the punishment of evil is hellfire. So I feel like they purposely had him engulfed in flames. After this, mate, you're going to hell. You're done. That's it. And by this time, the sun's come out. All the vampires are running back. Sorry, guys, I forgot to say. Another thing that I felt like was important was, I'm not sure if you guys see, in the dusk time, I know they like to say, is it like 3 a.m. is witching hour? In the dusk, that time where it's very early morning or very late night, that is when the highest time of spirituality tends to be, where it's just high in spiritual power. I feel like this was also around the time where they managed to get to grace with the possession music they were singing. I feel like, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but at that time, the vampires basically had strength on their side with the power and time. But as the day goes on, the sun comes up and they can't come up to the sun. Also, sorry, I realized as well, I don't know if this was done on purpose, like a mirror, but black people, they're slaves at the time and they're working in the sun the whole time. But what are vampires slave to? The vampires are slave to the sun. They can't come out in the sun. They can only be in the dark. I don't know if that was done on purpose. I think that might have been done on purpose. Imagery, duality. Because again, let's remember, Remmik he's selling a promise of freedom. But how are you guys free if you guys can't come out in the sun? Do you get what I mean? I didn't see Smoke basically gives him the guitar and he's like, you go back to your dad, because don't forget in the beginning, his dad is expecting him back because he's supposed to lead a sermon in church. And he wants him to, play his music. I think that is basically trying to encourage him to show how his music can be gifts, can be used to bring people to God rather than away. So this is how we come back to that beginning scene I was talking about, where we see Sammy, after all that he's gone through, he literally has a scar on his face from fighting with Remmik. He's coming back to the church, like a prodigal son, like I said, coming back to, and his dad embraces him, and his dad asks him to give it up. Give your life to God. Like, you've seen, I warned you and I told you what this can bring, and you've now seen it. But I don't know if it's done on purpose. This is where I feel like it depends on how you see it. Do you guys know about Robert Johnson? I'll correct myself. Basically, he's a man that had mediocre skills, with basically really bad skills, and he couldn't play the guitar or whatever he's playing properly. Out of nowhere, one night, at the crossroads, met some feature. Apparently, people think it's the devil, and essentially, people think he sold his soul to the devil to be able to have the gifts of playing music. Because out of nowhere, imagine someone that can't play anything at all good, out of nowhere being able to play something magical, something so good that people are like, whoa. Of course, you're going to think, hello, have you sold your soul? That's where the whole concept of selling your soul and stuff. After everything Sammy's gone through, he doesn't give up his music. He keeps playing. He ends up being a good band and everything like that. Some people see it as it's just a show of how he sold his soul to his devil. He sold his soul for his music, basically. That's how some people see it. But, however, I don't see it like that personally. I think even with everything Sammy has been through, losing his cousins, losing his love of his life. Also, I forgot to say Pearline as well, the love that he met, got turned, losing her. I think he decided to still see the beauty that music could cause, because yes, his music attracted bad spirits as well. Oh, let me not say attracted. I guess one could see it as his music and his gift was so beautiful and powerful that it attracted bad things, but let's still look at the beauty of it. For him, the music basically reflects the soul, right? His music brought people together. His music transcended the human plane. So while other people might see it as evil and bad, he chose to still see the beauty in it. Thingy. Don't you guys find it a bit weird? Like, this Robert John guy here, he died at 27. I didn't realize there's a whole 27 thingy because what? Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, who else? There's a couple people. I don't know if it was Juice WRLD. No, I think Juice WRLD still alive. Excess Tentacion, Juice WRLD. I don't know if he's still alive in P. But I didn't realize when Sammy sold himself, I didn't realize he died at 27. I thought he still made it to deep it. Let's actually think about it. We still see features of that in today's, where whenever we have artists that are completely talented and so good, we always think, oh, they sold and so. They've accused Rihanna, they accused Beyonce, Nicki Minaj. It's almost like anyone that's black and talented, we cannot just accept they're talented because of them. We have to think they're doing something else to be that talented. These type of theories is still coming from way back. It's people like these things have been here for way back. It's not something that's just new, where we can't believe someone's just talented just for being talented. But so guys, I'm just gonna summarize now. So now we get to the end of the movie, right? And I feel like, oh my goodness, I've got to say it. If you guys watch it, I hope you guys stayed for the end credits. There's 2 end credits, by the way. There's one where we see Sammy as an older person. He names the band Pearline after the girl that he fell in love with that day. And it's so sad because, like, he says, and him, Stack and Mary come and visit him in the club, basically at the end of his life, because Moke made Stack promise that they would not visit Sammy to turn him. So they let him live his life, and they even offered still, like, hey, we can still save you if you want to come and turn. And he says no, that he's seen enough of the life. He doesn't want that anymore. And if anything, he's seen enough of this earth. He doesn't want it anymore. And he still gets nightmares from everything. Ouch. From everything. Oh, sugar. From everything that happened. He's fine where he's at. So with that scene, honestly, when we see Sammy's older, he still has the music. He's still playing his music. He's doing really well for himself. But there's another end scene where we see younger Sammy, and he's singing, "This little light of mine." I'm gonna let it shine. You guys know that song, right? I feel like that song was so important because it also ties back to the fact that after everything Sammy went through, after everything he lost, he still didn't leave the music. He still felt like he's going to let his light shine. He's going to let his gift shine. I talk constantly during this commentary that there is a issue with temptation. They're being tempted constantly. Stack with Mary, that was his weakness. His grace with Lisa, the love for her daughter, weakness, temptation, money. That's how Mary was sent out to go see Remmik and his guys because they needed money. What else? Again, money and power. Stack and Smoke even opened up a jukebox in the first place. Money and power, because they need these things. They're basically what? Free men, but they're not actually free. Now, we're talking about spirituality, right? We see these things constantly. There's also a theme of sacrifice. Everything that's been happening, you've had to sacrifice or lose something to be able to have it. Sammy basically sacrificed, not on purpose, but his family. He probably lost ties with his family, his core beliefs, to be able to still continue with the music. Stack and Mary sacrificed their humanity for this belief of fellowship. Smoke sacrificed his life to basically be rejoined with Paul. I think the baby's name was Paul, and Annie. He sacrificed his life. Oh, guys, I forgot to say as well. And you know why this is so interesting to me? Again, I'm a Christian, and some people feel like, as a Christian, you shouldn't watch this because obviously there's a lot of stuff with spirituality. But at the same time, as a Christian, it gives me hope because with Christians, Jesus came and sacrificed himself. So if you believe in Christianity, you believe there's no more sacrifices that need to be made to be able to be protected, to be able to be forgiven, which is why some people say certain sins, I believe, even though you're always forgiven, it is one you shouldn't go against. You shouldn't use the grace of God. You shouldn't abuse the grace that God gives you because Jesus has given an ultimate sacrifice. Like for me, when I see these things, I don't see like, oh my goodness, or what's going on. I see it as a reminder as God gave his only begotten son so that I don't need to be praying and sacrificing or getting goats, all this stuff. Actually, I don't want to be ending up inside anyone's like beliefs and stuff like that. But I don't need to be doing certain things or mixing with all these things because the ultimate sacrifice has already been done. That's why to me, I don't see an issue watching it. But I also don't know influenced by the fact that I'm also Yoruba. So I see certain things from a cultural look perspective. I'm not seeing it from a whole, oh, this is, let me be careful. This is, what do you call it? This is hoodoo, this is, I'm just seeing as this is what some people practice in my culture and what's been passed on. Like, to this day, you got Yemaya, Orisha, all these stuff. Literally in Africa, America, South America, I've literally seen there's people that still speak part of my language because, again, this is culture. I see it from a cultural point of view. I don't ascribe to it because, again, I'm a Christian, but I just understand it from a historical point of view. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like, honestly speaking, if you can, watch Sinners, honestly, because it just touches on so many important things I never thought of because a lot of like as well that touch on like slavery, all these stuff. We tend to see the ones, well, at least the ones I've watched, where they're deep in the plantation work and like they're trying to like themselves. This movie kind of touches on like the middle point where like you see the transition of basically being enslaved to free, but it's also like a trap. If I deep it, like I'm really thinking about it, no one's actually free on this earth because another thing I forgot to say is when I said these lot were doomed from the start is regardless of whether Remmik came to kill them, don't forget they bought this painted lands from the Ku Klux Klan. Remmik even comes in and says it. Remmik is even the one that warns them like, oh, you guys are going to die regardless. Again, he uses it to offer fellowship, he uses it to offer, let's be together. Like, we can be together. I'm going to offer you an eternity because these lot took the money. The leader of the Ku Klux Klan took the money and was already planning to bring people to come and attack them. He takes it off and he basically sets up traps and kills these lot. He kills these lot and it just makes me think like, these not safe. Like, so sad, like, because whether they had the party and made it to the day, they were going to come and kill them. The only people that probably would have made it out, maybe like whoever was, because they came right in the morning, you just see a bunch of people come and they're ready to take over. It's just unfortunate, like, whole thing of entrapment. Like, there's no way out. As a black, like, let's actually deep it, honestly, like, let's deep it. They're running a business as black men that are free. Okay, let's from the beginning. They went to Chicago. This Tack and Smoke went to Chicago. Just to realize it's the same stuff that's happening in Mississippi and Chicago. So they come back down to where they know. They start a business to create something for free, for something like be free, but they can only do the business to black people. But black people then don't have enough money, at least in that Mississippi. The town over apparently is better because black owned businesses and stuff like that. So they can only play with like corpse and dollars. But it's only the dollars that they care about that matters that can actually do something for them. On top of that, they've had to do some next deals in Chicago with the Italians to get the Italian one and the Irish. And eventually they're going to find out that they've duped them. So they're going to come for them. And then it's like, we're never making it out. There was entrapment. I couldn't, honestly speaking, after watching like the movie, I couldn't imagine what it's like to be a black person at that time. So it completely makes sense why literally left Mary. I was like, you know what, you're white passing to me. I'm so sorry. You're white passing. Basically, white. I'm so sorry. 180. go live a better life. Because we're never going to have the quality of life that you think we would in this time. Like, so sad. If anything, to be fair, things worked out, I guess, for them. Because, again, like I said, sacrifice their souls to basically be able to live a long time. So now they're in a different time where interracial dating, basically, and black people have more freedom, more time. But they were only able to get that because, then again, because Sammy was older. But you know what I mean? Like, so just unfortunate, to be honest. Like, when I watch this, I come on, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Honestly speaking, this is absolutely, I know there's a way of life and we know it's history. But guys, I'm going to leave it at that for now because the video's long. I'm scared my camera's going to stop. So, guys, this is a commentary. I'm going to call it a commentary. It's Tori Talks Tuesdays and maybe Thursdays. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking through the video with my commentary. I hope I was able to paint a picture of the movie. If I said anything wrong, please correct me. Let's discuss in the comments. I'm always open to discussing with people. Like, I'm always open for correction. I want to know what you guys think about the movie. I want to know what I was missing. Because I think I said so much and I had so many notes down. Anything that I forget, I'll just put it down in the comments for like you guys. Like, this is my first. The video I posted before was a vlog, but this is the first time I've commented on something like this. The next video I was going to do maybe on You, because I watched You season 5 and I got a lot to say about that one. If you guys want to see You season 5 or just want me to talk about something else, let me know so I can just start prepping for that. And yeah, I'm going to leave it here. And I'm going to try see if, there's any other things that I forgot. I'm either going to add it in or I'm going to put it in the comments. So I'll see you guys there. Okay? Yeah. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye. Guys, so I forgot to say, this is the finished look as well. I always do my half lashes. I don't really like doing lashes, to be honest. But yeah, this is it. And then I put mousse on my locks. I've had these locks, guess how long? For like months. I did them myself. You guys already know I'm a hairstylist and that's our hair. So, support the business. And I have my edges done. I'm going to see like an edge cam. I'm going to see if you guys want me to try another look. This is just my typical base look, to be honest. Yeah, typically do base. So yeah. If you guys want to see a tutorial as well on this like look, let me know. I can do that too. Like, I'm really content for you guys, honestly, because I love you. But yeah, we're out. This is Tori Talks Tuesdays and maybe Thursdays. Commentary on Sinners, and we out.